Om Jnanatimrandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jnana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Vanchakalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhobhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Prabhupada-līlāmṛta, Volume 2, Chapter 49. India, Unifying ISKCON. During 1975, Srila Prabhupada increasingly referred management problems to the GBC, specifically to the annual GBC meeting in Mayapur. From the beginning of ISKCON, he had been saying it is not one man's work. He had created the governing body commission to relieve himself of the staggering burden of personally managing his growing world organization. Always remember, he had written to a GBC member, that you are one of the few leaders I have given this responsibility to, and your task is very great. Prabhupada saw the present progress of his movement as a wonderfully successful phenomenon, proof of the direct mercy of Lord Chaitanya upon his humble efforts. ISKCON was his service to his Guru Maharaj, and now his disciples should maintain it and increase it as their service to their spiritual master. He said he wanted to see 108 flourishing temples before his departure from the world. Keeping those temples alive was to be the work of his sincere followers. He wrote to his GBC representative for Australia, all temples in Melbourne, London, Paris, Bombay, all are very nice. Everything is very brilliant, bright and brilliant. The deity is proof of the sincere service. It is the duty of GBC now to maintain this. Their duty is to enthuse them and maintain. Problems were inevitable for a preacher of Krishna consciousness. Many sadhus therefore preferred to remain in a holy place without preaching. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and the great acharyas in the Sampradaya of Lord Chaitanya had been concerned with offering the Lord's devotional service to as many conditioned souls as possible. Yet to take up this path, one would have to be tolerant. Financial needs, national and local governmental restrictions, ignorant and demonic enemies of pure devotees to the Lord, envy, personal ambition, and disagreements among neophyte devotees, struggles and fall downs in the attempt to avoid illicit sex and intoxication. All these and many more problems complicated the preacher's mission. Srila Prabhupada, however, knew the struggle was worth it even to save just one soul from the cycle of birth and death. Prabhupada wanted his more advanced disciples to share his senior members. He tried to turn affairs over to them and concentrate more on his life's mission of presenting all 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. Always the devotees were enthusiastically pressing Prabhupada to translate and write more books so that they could read them and distribute them. Srila Prabhupada replied that he was trying his best, but the task was not mechanical. Great concentration and peace of mind were required. He could not write while at the same time being besieged by dozens of threatening complicated issues. When the GBC member responsible for Gurukul wrote Srila Prabhupada with a plan that all ISKCON centers should support the educational system, Prabhupada replied, as far as taxing the centers for the maintenance, that should be considered among the GBC. When a controversy arose in Stockholm, center and devotees, appealed to Prabhupada for a judgment, he replied, "This must be considered at a full meeting of the GBC." And he added, "All of our students will have to become Guru, but they are not qualified." Srila Prabhupada said that sexual attraction, making unnecessary changes, and fighting among god brothers were all Western diseases. Krishna consciousness was the path of perfection, and if his disciples stayed persistently and sincerely on the path, they could certainly succeed. Sometimes, however, Prabhupada saw the Western disease overcoming his disciples, and even the GBC members would seem unable to stop it. Yet, unless they spared him from such headaches, how could he do the higher work? GBC, he said, must mean that by his managing there are not any complaints, so that I can be relieved to do the translation work. He had expounded on this principle in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. When the disciples are grown up and are able to preach, the spiritual master should retire and sit down in a solitary place to write and execute nirjana bhajana. This means sitting silent in a solitary place and executing a devotional service. The devotees of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness now render service as preachers in various parts of the world. Now they can allow their spiritual master to retire from active preaching work. In the last stage of spiritual master's life, the devotees of the spiritual master should take preaching activities into their own hands. But it was like trying to control the wind. When the difficulties mounted, the devotees would run to him like children running to their father. Sometimes a disciple would simultaneously ask him to write his books and then drop a serious problem in his lap. One of the leaders in America reported to him that some devotees were not following the principles, but that Srila Prabhupada should please stay in India and continue writing peacefully. Prabhupada wrote back, "If the old habits come back, then everything is finished. If my mind becomes disturbed in this way, then how can I concentrate on book writing? It is not possible. Better not inform me anything and let me sit in Vrindavan." Sometimes Srila Prabhupada uttered the phrase, "Let me sit in Vrindavan," as if to give up managing the whole problematic society. Everyone knew he would never leave ISKCON. He had already sacrificed his life to save the world by leading the Krishna consciousness movement. But when would his disciples mature? Srila Prabhupada wrote, "I want that the GBC relieve me of all management, which means that they have to manage the way I manage." And often he would say, "Do as I am doing." When controversies and disagreements among the GBC secretaries themselves came before him, he would refer them to the GBC body. "I appoint GBC for peaceful management of affairs, and now you are creating disturbances among yourselves. So, how can I be peaceful to translate my work? So, all these things should be kept in abeyance for the time being, and when we meet in Mayapur, we can discuss amongst the entire GBC. The spiritual sky questions and all other questions of this nature will simply have to wait until we discuss it in Mayapur." Srila Prabhupada continued to hold the GBC responsible for settling the affairs of ISKCON. For better or worse, he wanted all his disciples to accept the GBC as the authority, and he trusted them. When the GBC members all met together, working under his guidance, they could solve the problems. But whether they could actually spare him, allowing him to peacefully write his books, seemed doubtful. During 1975, a controversy arose among some of the ISKCON members, including some of the GBC members, as to whether Grahastha devotees, married men, could actually be spiritual leaders in ISKCON. Although the Krishna consciousness philosophy clearly explained that any devotee, regardless of his ashram, could become qualified and purified, the controversy grew. In September, a sannyasi GBC member flew from the US to Vrindavan just to suggest to Prabhupada that another GBC member, a Grihastha, was not qualified to lead. Srila Prabhupada, however, said that the matter could be settled at the annual GBC meeting. But when the next day a letter came from Rameshwar supplicating Prabhupada to continue his translating work, Prabhupada replied that he was prepared to work at his writing, but that when one leader flies 10,000 miles to lodge a complaint against another, then what can I do? If you all leaders cannot work together, then how can you expect the others to cooperate with you? Differences may be there, but still you have to cooperate together. Otherwise, where is the question of my being relieved of so many problems and decisions? As the third annual international festival approached, the long standing problems of various discontent parties awaited settlement in the court of GBC. Srila Prabhupada would be arriving in Mayapur on January 17, almost 2 months before the GBC meetings and gathering of devotees. With perhaps 1,000 devotees attending, there would be blissful kirtans, classes, and parikramas, and there will be problems. Prabhupada made it clear that the proper way of settling the controversies was not by gossiping about them, not by pressing him for a ruling, but by trusting in the GBC. Prabhupada himself would stand by the decisions of the GBC, or, if necessary, correct them, and so sincere followers should also not hesitate to follow. At the Mayapur meeting, whatever we decided, that is good for 1 year. So, if anything has to be done, it will be decided by majority decision of the GBC. I do not wish to give any decision without the GBC's verdict. My only grievance is that I appointed GBC to give me relief from the management, but on the contrary, complaints and counter complaints are coming to me. Then how my brain can be peaceful? So best thing is that we wait for the Mayapur meeting and decide there combinedly what to do. If there are any discrepancies that will be discussed at the GBC meeting in Mayapur, yeah, Mayapur. How can one man manage the whole world affairs? January 17, 1976. En route from Calcutta to Mayapur, Prabhupada stopped at a mango grove and took breakfast, fruit, vada, nuts, and sweets. Even before reaching Mayapur, he was enjoying the peaceful atmosphere of Bengal countryside. Soon he would be at the Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir, his special place of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. More than 50 adult devotees and 30 young Bengali Gurukul boys were waiting for Srila Prabhupada at the gate. For the first time, Prabhupada beheld the large entrance dome recently built over the gate. A thick 20 feet flower garland stretched across the gateway, and before it stood Bhavananda Goswami holding a small silk cushion on which rested a pair of scissors. Stepping out of the car into the bright sunshine, Prabhupada took the scissors and cut the garland, sanctifying the gate. Prabhupada smiled. Everyone cheered as the gate swung open and Prabhupada entered, followed by the ecstatic Kirtan party. As Prabhupada walked toward the temple of Radha Madhava, everywhere he looked, he saw blossoming flowers, clay pots of burning frankincense, billowed fragrant smoke, and women stood on the second floor veranda offering flowers of rose petals as Prabhupada approached. The main building was decorated beautifully. Walking beneath an orange silk umbrella amid the devotees and exuberant kirtan of the holy name, he appeared regal and triumphant. Inside the temple, where dozens of garlands hung from the ceiling, Prabhupada came before the golden form of Radha Madhava and offered prostrated obeisances. He felt he was in Vaikunta. Because of the arrangements the devotees had made, he said Krishna was smiling. Later that day, as Prabhupada was taking his massage, his servant Harishauri suggested that this would be a good place for retirement. Either Vrindavan or Mayapur. Prabhupada replied, no other place, that is sure. In the afternoon, Prabhupada inspected the grounds and buildings. He was pleased at the spaciousness of the Prasadam hall built to seat 1200, and he remarked that its size reminded him of Bombay railway station. But when he found the steps to the kitchen, he criticized strongly clean, but that the devotee who always did it was cleaning his japa has not been cleaned for 300 years. Clean first, then japa. Under the hello, under the plea of japa, they are simply dozing. He said that anyone who finds the situation affected by the mode of ignorance but doesn't act to correct it is also being affected by mode of ignorance. Srila Prabhupada walked down to the bank of Jalangi to see the boat and the devotees were using for traveling from village to village. On board, he praised the simple life of traveling and preaching. He also went to the Goshala and saw the calves and cows, and he drank a cup of first sugarcane juice of the season from the from cane grown on ISKCON land. As Srila Prabhupada walked through the fields to the proposed site of Mayapur city, Shurabi described where various buildings could be located. Prabhupada suggested they present their plan to West Bengal government officials and asked them to provide the necessary land. Srila Prabhupada continued to meditate on Mayapur city, and a few days later he composed letter to Chief Secretary of West Bengal asking for help in acquiring land. ISKCON should not be misunderstood as a sectarian religious institution, he informed the Chief Secretary. Krishna's instructions in Bhagavad Gita, beginning with "We are not the body," were scientific and thus did not belong to any particular religion. Prabhupada also asserted that ISKCON's problem, especially the one contemplated for Mayapur, would solve national and international problems through spiritual education. He mentioned features that would be particularly appealing to the chief secretary, such as the investment of foreign capital in the project, the flow of tourists who would come to Mayapur, and the hiring of thousands of local workers for constructing and maintaining the city. His description of the project was fascinating, centered around a cultural exposition building. The total village communal development will unfold. This central exposition building is the first phase of many phased plan. It will feature the world's largest planetarium entitled the Temple of Understanding. This structure will be over 30 stories high and will house exhibits depicting all the levels of universal existence and all varieties of living conditions and all the planetary system and exact detail through lights, model dioramas and murals. Yeah, there will also be daily scheduled exhibits and tours of for the public, and even a moving escalator taking the public to the upper levels of exhibition building. The planetariums exhibits on various levels of existence in this world and beyond will be based on scientific findings in the Vedic literature, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam. This temple of understanding This temple of understanding shall be surrounded by beautiful pathways, entrances, gardens, and water reservoirs. Four-storied buildings, 1,000 feet long, will stand at the perimeter of the central area on all four sides. These will be used for teaching general, specialized branches of education from the primary level to the postgraduate level. In his letter, Srila Prabhupada referred to difficulties in purchasing land for ISKCON's projects, since all the local land owners were escalating their prices far beyond the market value. If the government could make the land available at a market price, then ISKCON could immediately start its important work, officially inaugurating it on the birthday anniversary of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, March 16, 1976. In the meantime, Prabhupada was trying on his own to acquire enough land to begin. The Mayapur city project would require extensive funding and many years of work to develop, but it would proclaim the glories of Lord Chaitanya with unlimited potency. Mayapur would become famous, drawing people from all over the world to see the unique modern application of timeless Vedic wisdom. Prabhupada explained to his disciples that although a sannyasi traditionally does not involve himself with money, the devotee's desire is to unite Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, represented by wealth, and Narayan, God. He said there was truth to the common saying, no one listens to a poor man, and were he to advertise A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami discoursing in an empty field in Mayapur, no one would come. Westerners especially should be able to hear about Krishna in a comfortable, attractive setting. Prabhupada planned, therefore, that visitors to ISKCON's transcendental city be well accommodated. Gradually, the world would be deeply affected by the dynamic demonstration of artistic, philosophical, and humanitarian aspects of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada asked Shurabi to draw a master plan for Mayapur city. Staying up all night, Shurabi made a preliminary architectural sketch showing specific areas of the city for Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudras. The sketches also showed temples, schools, streets, walkways, residential buildings, cottages, a stadium, and an airport, as well as self sufficiency features like windmills, irrigation systems, and agricultural fields. Prabhupada was taking his massage when Shurabhi brought him the drawing. Prabhupada's golden body was glistening with mustard oil as Harisauri carefully, strongly massaged his head, neck, head, back, chest, and limbs. Prabhupada was relaxed and silent, his eyes closed in meditation, but when Shurabhi entered with drawing of Mayapur, he became animated. Prabhupada looked at the drawing and talked about it for an hour. Now Shurabhi should make a formal drawing and approach professional architects and appropriate government agencies. The devotees coming to Mayapur should also see it. As fabulous and far reaching as it was, the Mayapur city should now become a reality. As the festival drew near, some of the sannyasis arrived, hoping to associate more intimately with Srila Prabhupada before the flood of devotees began. A major topic of discussion among the sannyasis was the controversies over the role of grahastha men in ISKCON and the influence of women and children on sannyasis and brahmacharis, those in the renounced orders. Some of the sannyasis were suggesting that ISKCON should be more structured to separate renounced order and the preachers from the householders. They began airing their views before Srila Prabhupada, who then guided them. On one morning walk, Jayapataka Swami inquired about the standards required before a man could take sannyas. To become a sannyasi, Prabhupada replied, the other three processes are there, to become brahmachari, to become grahastha, and to become vanaprastha, stage by stage. But if one is able to, if one is able, he can take sannyas, and that competency is also very simple. If you become fully Krishna conscious, then you can immediately become competent. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. As soon as you fully engage yourself in Krishna consciousness, then immediately you become more than a sannyasi. Harishaurya Grahastha inquired whether artificially accepting the renounced order could actually be indulging in another form of sense gratification. As soon as we manufacture something, Prabhupada replied, that is sense gratification. When we think, I want to fulfill my desire, that's all. That is sense gratification. It may be that I sit down under a tree or I sit down in a palace. The basic principle is sense gratification. The other day I was talking about Hira Chor and Kira Chor. Hira means diamond and Kira means cucumber. One is thinking I shall steal one cucumber, another thinks if I steal, I shall steal the diamond. But the stealing propensity is there. One may think that I am only stealing a cucumber and it is not very dangerous, but in the eyes of law, both of them are criminal. So, if we manufacture a concoction, yes, I have got a stealing propensity, but I'll not steal a diamond, I'll steal Kira. That's only mental concoction, but he is a thief. Jaipatak Swami. So, is Grihastha life in Krishna consciousness allowing us to steal Kira? Prabhupada, yes, Kira Chor. The prostitute hunter is Hira Chor, and the householder is a Kira Chor. That's all. Again, Hari Sauri inquired whether artificial renunciation was sense gratification. There were different views among disciples, and they wanted Prabhupada to make it very clear so that one party could not take a quote from Prabhupada and claim it was universal. Renunciation is not artificial, said Prabhupada. It is a process. We have to give up the sense gratification. So go through the process to turn, like sometimes in a health club, there is artificial swimming. Is it not? Artificial swimming is not actual swimming, but it is to practice. Dayananda. But sometimes people who renounce, they become very proud. What is that? Prabhupada continued to reply that renunciation had to be accepted, sorry, had to be actually practiced. Everyone must attend the Mangalarti, he said. One must attend this, otherwise, no prasadam. If you are too sick, then also you should not eat. There should not be sleeping at the time of Mangalarti because he says he is sick. Then at the time of prasadam, ferocious eating. If the devotees were looking for Prabhupada to make an absolute distinction between Grihastha and Sannyasi, it was not there. He emphasized rather the actual quality and practice of the individual devotee. On another morning walk, Hridayananda Goswami told Prabhupada of Sannyasis discussions. Hridayananda, we were thinking that it would be nice to have the city center for the preachers. And for the women and children, it's much easier to maintain them on our farms. There, they can do a little work and produce their own food. Prabhupada, yes, in the farms they can live and do some handwork. Guru Kripa Swami, they don't do it. Sorry, they won't do it. Though, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, then you don't allow. If they do not follow the rules and regulations, then what is the use? Another sannyasi said that when many householders came together in big communities, an atmosphere of laziness developed. Whereas when lots of brahmacharis were preaching together, it was more enlivening. Prabhupada. Anyway, everyone should be engaged. That's all. No ideal life. Never encourage laziness. If we maintain some lazy men, then everything will be spoiled. Devotee. I heard, Srila Prabhupada, that you remarked our society is not a love-making society, but these things are going on. Referring to an impropriety of two of his disciples, Prabhupada replied, yes, I have seen in Vrindavan. Other complaints arose. One leader argued that the temple should not have to carry the burden of maintaining women with children, but no husbands. Another complaint was that brahmacharis, by selling books, were in effect supporting the householders. Prabhupada continued to reply in philosophical and practical way that whatever discrepancies were present should be rectified. Sense gratification, laziness, and failure to attend the temple program should not be tolerated. But this condemnation of malpractices in devotional service did not fall exclusively on any particular group. Shortly after his arrival in Mayapur, Prabhupada had addressed a similar issue in his own correspondence. Mr. Chatterjee had returned from Calcutta to say that he was preaching worship of Lord Chaitanya and was eager to show Srila Prabhupada some articles he had written. Mr. Chatterjee stated, my theme is we can get to see our God, Gauranga, by taking sannyas. Those who are grihasthas reach to the Godhead through Nama Sankirtan. Srila Prabhupada encouraged the man with a reply. Your theme is okay. There were many devotees of Lord Chaitanya like Advaita Acharya and even Lord Nityananda who were grihasthas. Lord Chaitanya left his grihastha life. It is a matter of understanding Krishna. That is the real qualification. Whether one is grihastha or sannyas, how well he knows Krishna. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung Griheva Vanete Ta Thake He Gauranga Bole Take. Lord Chaitanya says, Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nyasi, Shudra Kene Naya Ei, Krishna Tattvaveta Sai Guru Hai. So please come and we shall discuss your articles. It doesn't matter whether one is living at home or in the forest or as long as he is chanting the name of Lord Chaitanya, he is a Vaishnava. Whether one is a Brahmana, a Sannyasi, or Shudra, regardless of what he is, he can become a spiritual master if he knows the science of Krishna consciousness. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 8 128. While sitting relaxed in his room, Srila Prabhupada had his temporary secretary Dayananda read him some recent mail. One letter was from a temple president having difficulty managing the devotees, and the president and Prabhupada had Dayananda summarize the letter's point. He said Dayananda, that the devotees aren't behaving and so he is criticizing, but they are not accepting. Simply criticism is not our means, said Prabhupada. Our means is to show by example. Dayananda made a note of it to use in typing Prabhupada's reply. Now, Srila Prabhupada, Dayananda continued, he is inquiring about his household life. This is not the business of Guru, said Prabhupada. How to increase sex life and family life? They are not happy, these Western men and women. They become married, but they are not happy. Therefore, I recommend brahmacharya and sannyas life. Several other devotees were also in the room with Prabhupada and Jagadguru. A brahmachari spoke up. Because they have no training, that's why they have so many problems. Whatever it may be, said Prabhupada, but they are not happy. Therefore, I recommend brahmacharya and sannyas. Srila Prabhupada had already been disturbed by what he saw as a loose house husband-wife situation in Vrindavan. Now, hearing this letter from a householder who was improperly inquiring about his family life, he again turned his attention to Vrindavan and asked to see his GBC for Vrindavan, Gopal Krishna, who had recently arrived in Mayapur. It is not a free hotel for lovemaking, Prabhupada began. Even before Gopal Krishna entered the room, Vrindavan is not a joking place. They must be serious for Krishna, and I shall give them everything. Don't worry about money, but manage. There is not scarcity of money. There is scarcity of management. Why so many children in the temple? It is not simply a place for husbandless women. Children should always be engaged, so they shouldn't create a disturbance all over. Srila Prabhupada said that if the mothers were irresponsible and only wanted to take care of their own children, then they should be sent away from Vrindavan. Two women could run a nursery and take care of many children, and the other women could work, not go to the roof and love making, said Prabhupada, and make a plan and go away. He stressed that since all India came to Vrindavan, ISKCON's center should be ideal in every respect. Otherwise, people would think that his disciples were hippies and no one would come. A good example of responsible care for children was in Mayapur, where a Gurukul had already been organized. Children are welcome, said Prabhupada, but make them jewels, not spoiled children, Varnasankara hippies. For the sannyasis in Mayapur, Prabhupada's heavy words about irresponsible grihasthas fueled their own arguments. A few of them felt that grihasthas should not even live in temples. That evening, when sannyasis gathered in Prabhupada's room, they discussed with him the position of families and children in ISKCON. One sannyasi reported not being allowed to preach in certain temples because he was against marriage and favored brahmachari life. Others complained that expensive properties were being purchased to be used mostly as residences. The preaching was suffering, they said, and brahmacharis were being told to get married if they felt sexually agitated. Prabhupada felt the heavy force of the sannyasis' protest, and he could perceive the antagonism between the ashramas. These things must be decided by the GBC, he said, and no one could go against their decisions. But he also expressed sympathy for what the sannyasis were saying. Families, he suggested, could serve in farm communities and live self sufficiently in Krishna consciousness. Our whole preaching program is detachment from material life, said Prabhupada, to stop sex life altogether. Grihastha is a concession for those who cannot give it up immediately. Otherwise, marriage is not required. It is simply burdensome. Legal or illegal, the after effects of sex simply means difficulty. March 7, the GBC members assembled. The process was to make an agenda, discuss each issue, and then pass resolutions by voting. At the end of the day, they would go to Srila Prabhupada in his room and read the day's resolutions for his approval or amendment. The first day they spent mostly in assigning zones and duties for each GBC member. They reported their results to Srila Prabhupada and he approved them. Prabhupada also addressed the issues of grihasthas and sannyasa life, saying that all the devotees should become attached to Krishna's family, not to the stool family or big family. Sannyas life means rejection of false family, but not the family of Krishna consciousness. The Krishna Consciousness Society was based on renunciation, said Prabhupada, and therefore all sincere devotees were as good as sannyasis. The actual dress didn't matter, whether white or saffron. Although an ideal grihastha should eventually come to the stage of formal sannyas, he said that all the disciples should become gurus and each make thousands of disciples, just as he had, thus spreading Krishna consciousness everywhere. Grihastha men traditionally wear white, Brahmachari and sannyas wear saffron. Discuss in the GBC, he said, and make a decision. Question and put to vote. But if you make Brahmachari party, Grahastha party, Sannyasi party, it will be finished. Everything should be done very openly. We have to work for Krishna. Why this whispering? It is not very good. The next morning, while Srila Prabhupada was on his walk around the Mayapur fields, the GBC Vice Chairman Madhutvisha Swami asked for guidance in preparation for the GBC meeting that day. Madhutvisha, the subjects that we are going to be discussing today in the GBC meeting are about the role of sannyasis and brahmacharis and grihasthas in ISKCON. In the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in one of your purports, you say that a sannyasi should never discourage a young man from getting married. But on the other hand, we understand that a sannyasi should encourage young men to remain brahmachari. So it seems to me like there's some kind of contradiction. Prabhupada, according to the time and circumstance, just like Krishna says, Nitya Nitam Kuru Karma Tvam, always be engaged in your prescribed duty, prescribed work. And at last, he says, Sarva Dharman Parijnacha Mamekam Sharanam Braja. So now you adjust. That is not a contradiction. It is just suitable to the time and circumstance. Give up all prescribed duties and surrender unto me. Bhagavad Gita 18:66. Madhutvisha. But is there some conclusion, Prabhupada? The real aim is that you have to become the eternal servant of Krishna. Either you go through karma or jnana or yoga, it doesn't matter. The ultimate aim is how to reach Krishna. Arjuna achieved the favor of Krishna by fighting and killing. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada said no more. He had created the GBC to deal with just such problems, and he had instructed his GBC men personally in letters and in his books. Now they would have to apply those instructions according to the time and place. The GBC met, discussed all day, and by evening had a list of resolutions pertaining to the divisions of ashram and in ISKCON. Husbandless women with children could not live in ISKCON temples. Husband and wife could not live in ISKCON temples even if separately. Before entering marriage, devotees should have a means of supporting themselves and not expect to live off ISKCON. Upon getting married, a householder would be financially responsible for his wife until such time as he took sannyas. Reading the resolutions to Prabhupada in his room usually evoked little verbal response from him. His practice was generally to nod in approval or occasionally to comment. But when he heard the resolutions that husbandless women with children could not stay in the temples, he uttered a thoughtful, hmm. Then he said, as for me, my only concern is that they should not waste their valuable human life. He was speaking not in the tone of official head of the society who could veto resolutions, but in a personal, humble way as a pure devotee. After so much struggle, he said, they have got this human form, and I do not want that they should miss the opportunity. As for me, I cannot discriminate man, woman, child, rich, poor, educated, or foolish. Let them all come and let them take Krishna consciousness so that they will not waste their human life. Although the GBC members usually had plenty to say, after these remarks from Prabhupada, they remained silent. Finally, Tamal Krishna Goswami, the elected GBC chairman for the year, spoke. Yes, Srila Prabhupada, he said. So we will strike that resolution. Prabhupada also disapproved the resolution that a householder would have to give financial support for his wife for the rest of his life until he took sannyas. You each be guru, he said. As I have 5,000 disciples or 10,000, so you have 10,000 each. In this way, create branches and branches of Chaitanya tree. But you have to be spiritually strong. This means chanting your rounds and following the four rules. It is not an artificial show. It is not a material thing. Chant and follow the four rules and pray to Krishna in helplessness. We have to have enthusiasm. If we lose our enthusiasm, everything will become slack. In old age, I came out from Vrindavan. I have no money, nothing, but I thought, let me try. Bhagavan spoke out spontaneously. You are still enthusiastic, Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhupada smiled. I am enthusiastic. I don't think I am an old man. Sometimes we think we are old, said Bhagavan. No one is old, said Prabhupada. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Sometimes in old age one is pushed down, but I am enthusiastic. The soul is not destroyed with a destruction with body. Bhagavad Gita 220. Prabhupada said he was pleased at most of the resolutions because they indicated that a strong GBC was now ready to relieve him so he could concentrate on his translation work. He said that the devotees who would have to strictly follow for the entire year what GBC had agreed. There should be no changes unless he approved, and at the next annual meeting, they could make any changes necessary. The GBC chairman then called for a vote on an unresolved topic from the day's meeting. The topic had been discussed, but since it had not been approved, the chairman called for a vote. Everyone voted yes by raising their right hand. Then Srila Prabhupada raised his hand also. His disciples immediately laughed at his endearing gesture. Yes, Prabhupada said, I am simply following the GBC. Whatever you say, I have to follow. When the temple presidents heard about GBC resolutions, many objected. They knew Prabhupada had approved them, but they thought that the actual spirit and interpretation some of the sannyasis might give to the resolutions would cause a split in the society. Many of the temple presidents, being grihasthas, felt discriminated against. They wanted a chance to present their side. Prabhupada knew of the president's discontent and he brought up the subject on his next morning walk. Surrounded by sannyasis, GBC men, temple presidents, and others, he brought out the issues, attempting to bring his spiritual family into harmony. I have heard, he said, that too much stricture on grihasthas may cause some disturbance. Hmm? Yes, admitted Madhvisa. So, said Prabhupada, I think the grihasthas themselves should form a small committee and define what they want, what they will do, instead of forcing something on them. Because in this age, nobody can follow strictly all the strictures in the Shastras. Tamal Krishna objected to the idea of grihastha revising the GBC resolution. In none of our resolutions, he argued, do we say anything about how grihastha should live. The resolutions simply say how our society should be run. It doesn't say how grihastha should live. And on points of objection, Prabhupada has already corrected us. I think it may be further decided. Hmm, Prabhupada continued. May a small committee of 3 or 4 grihasthas then, uh, make a small committee of 3 or 4 grihasthas. Then you define how you live. Changing the subject, Prabhupada asked when the pandal are going to be built. Today, 350 devotees were expected to arrive from the west. The pandal stage was supposed to have been erected and festivities, including theatre, and theatre would begin in the evening. But the devotees, irresponsibly absorbed in grihastha sannyas issue, could not refrain from pursuing it further. That is the distinction between the enjoying spirit and renouncing spirit. Asked, Spirit asked Pushta Krishna Swami, returning to the theme. Prabhupada asked. Although the question was pointed, he remained pious and detached from their party divisions. His idea of what to do was definite, but his method of teaching it was careful and gradual. He already knew well the difficult tasks of satisfying divergent views among his strong minded disciples. For years, he had been making the ultimate decisions and teaching his disciples how to go forward in a united way. Once again, an issue was building that only he could solve if they would listen. Pushta Krishna. For example, as we have been discussing, there are different tendencies between the brahmacharis and grihasthas. The attitude of brahmachari is toward renunciation. If a brahmachari gives up his brahmachari life to become a grihastha, that means he is more inclined to enjoying spirit, or at least to some extent. So, how to deal with this situation, Prabhupada? If you want to enjoy, who can stop you? Tamal Krishna, but we cannot support it. We cannot support this enjoyment that he should take on himself. Prabhupada. According to different positions and attitudes, the four ashramas are there: brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. This means that everyone is not on the equal platform. There are different platforms, but whole idea is how to give up the propensity of enjoyment that is wanted. Pushta Krishna. We find in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Sukadeva Goswami would approach the householders in the morning just as long as to give them a little bit of spiritual knowledge, and he would accept the offering of some milk. So the sannyasis and renunciants generally they wouldn't very much relish the association of householders because of this enjoying spirit and the association that it entails. So we are finding also within our society that those who are inclined to remaining celibate, they are finding the association of persons even within our movement who have their enjoying spirit to be somewhat detrimental to their own spiritual life. Prabhupada, then what is your proposal? What should drive them away? Sorry, you should drive them away? Madhutvisa. Unless there is association, then they will never become purified. Tamara Krishna. No, that is not the problem. Because everyone comes together for association, uh, they come together in the temple for kirtan, for lecture, for prasadam. These things are common activities. There is no question that we should not have common activities between all the ashramas. But for the living, there must be separate arrangement. Prabhupada. Now, even in the temple, you are complaining that a husband and wife are talking. Prabhupada seemed almost coy in the way he gradually led and manipulated the issue. He was also hearing more clearly the minds and hearts of his divided disciples. Tamal Krishna. Yes, they are not talking. Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada. That you will find everywhere. Bhagavat. There's a complaint that sometimes there's a complaint that sometimes is made that there's too much aversion on on the part of brahmacharis. But isn't that a quality of a brahmachari that he should have a healthy contempt for sense gratification? Prabhupada, I do not follow. The devotees crowded around as closely as possible. This was an important point. Pushta Krishna. He's saying that sometimes the brahmacharis and even the sannyasis may have a strong aversion to association with women in householder life. But sometimes the grihasthas will criticize the sannyasis and brahmacharis and say this is fanaticism. I don't know, someone has messaged. Sorry. Are you able to see the text?
Prabhuji,
Yes,
we are able to
Prabhuji.
see text, but not your image.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I don't know why. Okay. Let's continue. The grihastha says that this is just as bad as the enjoying spirit, because a sannyasi is meditating on the same thing, except that he is averse to it. So, Bhagavad Das' question is it better to be neutral or to be averse? Prabhupada, these all are fanaticism. Real unity is in advancing Krishna consciousness. Kalau nasti eva nasti eva. In Kali Yuga, you cannot strictly follow. Neither I can strictly follow. If I criticize you, if you criticize me, then we go far away from our real life of Krishna consciousness. Pushta Krishna. So, is it correct to say that if we are not Krishna conscious, then if it's not the grihastha problem, it would be some other problem? Prabhupada, yes. We should always remember that either Grihastha or Brahmachara or Sannyasi, nobody can strictly follow all the rules and regulations. In the Kali Yuga, it's not possible. If I simply find fault with you and if you find fault with me, then it will be factional and our real business will be hampered. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended the Harinam, chanting Hare Krishna mantra, should be very rigidly performed, which is common for everyone, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. They should always chant Hare Krishna mantra. Then everything will be adjusted. Otherwise, it is impossible to advance. We shall be complicated with details only. This is called Niyamagraha. I think I have explained it. Madhutvisa, yes, in the nectar of instruction. Prabhupada, Niyamagraha is not good. Niyama means rule, regulative principles. Agraha means not to accept. Agraha means the opposite. Too eager to accept the regulative principles, but no advancement spiritually. Both of them are not, both of them are called Niyamagraha. So the basic principle is that Niyamagraha is not recommended. If we advance in Krishna consciousness by simple method of chanting 24 hours, Kirtaniya Sadahari, then things will be automatically adjusted. You cannot find in Kali Yuga that everything is being done very correctly to the point. That is very difficult. Just like our poet Allen Ginsberg, he was always accusing me, Swamiji, you are very conservative and strict. Actually, I told him, I am never strict, neither I am conservative. If I become conservative, then I cannot live here for a moment. So I am not at all conservative. I was living with one boy called Yegens. I was cooking and I saw in the refrigerator some pieces of meat for his cat. So still, I kept my food in that refrigerator. What can be done? They have been talking for over an hour, and Prabhupada had given definitive instructions, but it was not over yet. It was clear, however, who was in control. Later that morning, 350 devotees approached and the precincts of Mayapur in the caravan of buses from the Calcutta airport. For most of the arriving devotees, this would be the first visit to Mayapur, and their excitement countered the fatigue of the long journey from the West. Free of worldly concerns, they have come to India to visit Sridham Mayapur and to see Srila Prabhupada again. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, great lecture, Prabhuji. It's like different dimensions of Prabhupada, and uh, also like nowadays, like when I feel people in the office depressed or something, I show Prabhupada's picture and I tell what he has accomplished, and they're all surprised that this happened at this ripe age of 69, Prabhuji. So
Hmm.
it is very inspiring to even people who hear just a 1 minute summary of what Prabhupada has done. Especially this lecture was very nice, Prabhuji, because right from the importance of GBC, this whole conflict with brahmacharis and grihasthas, just seeing the manifestation, what ISKCON has gone through, and the way Prabhupada has seen through all these things is really amazing, Prabhuji. Like, makes all
Hmm.
of us feel very, very small. Okay, we should not even think, but makes very, very small of what we see today, Prabhuji. Really inspiring, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Uh, Prabhuji, one question I had is like, in one place, like they say, Prabhupada disapproved the resolution that a householder would have to give financial support uh, until he took sannyas. So,
Mhm.
but that's like, the husband has to support the wife and family, right, Prabhuji? So I didn't understand that part.
A resolution could be very strong, right? So it cannot be then case to case.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, the dharma is one thing. Again, Prabhupada also mentioned, according to the circumstance and time. Yeah. So that's why it can't be so strongly dictated that okay, he has to definitely take care. There is no other. Right now we know what is happening, right? Huh? The husbands are giving what do you call? Yeah, because of women empowerment on a wonderful, what is this today? International Women Day, right?
oh, so yeah. Yes,
Yeah. So yeah, Prabhupada is speaking about future, how dangerous it can become.
yes. Totally, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Right.
Yeah. So he's caring for men community.
Yes,
Thank
even
thank.
we were creating jokes in the office, like, LinkedIn, if you open LinkedIn, it's fully flooded. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm already seeing whenever I'm seeing my in the company hierarchies, right? I see so many women are really fully powered up now. Yeah. Yeah. in few years we may struggle to exist.
Yes, Prabhuji. Totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then tell me, such a poor man, how can he take care of his wife?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay. What do you say, dear Ratikeli Mataji? Varsanil Mataji? Sorry, a very sensitive topic.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah, handing it over to Varsha.
Yeah, yeah. If she heard.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhuji, real woman empowerment is that even women get this knowledge that, yeah, Krishna, coming to Krishna consciousness and getting the opportunity to take Krishna name is the most empowerment one can have.
Yeah,
If that knowledge comes, then yeah, everything comes with that.
yeah.
And it never means that in any way, Prabhupada never means that women are less. The way how traditionally people take it as word, it has to be understood in a different way. And I think that can only be done through the eyes of one. We hear from Sana, a learned guru, teacher, or mentor. If somebody just read by themselves and take his word, maybe they might feel little offensive because for years and years of conditioning and as we all are, yeah, in Kali Yuga, and we have all grown up with our own experiences, and we just take things as it is for the face value. So after being on that journey, if we just think normally, we might not be in that place to take things in the right aspect and perspective. So yes, Prabhuji, that yeah, we need a good teacher, a mentor, and all obviously a society where, yeah, as we can see in our own community, Prabhuji, like so many Matajis, all are doing fabulous services. So
Yeah.
there's no point of comparison is there. Means now it feels like very funny. Why that comparison? Why that sort of things,
Yeah.
empowerment and all that?
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes time, and one has to be ready and open. And yeah, little bit mercy also probably is
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah. When you're
Yeah.
telling about this, I felt like, okay, um, yeah, I don't know. I think it was in Sushila Mataji's home program. No? That time, we have to, um, yeah, it's about respect and prospect. No, we are at the moment looking only for respect,
Mm,
and in that business, we are not focusing on the prospect of ourselves. Yeah.
mm,
So sometimes now what is happening is whatever was not there now we can demand and get. After all, everyone has power, so let's do it. But I can, from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, we can see that Devahuti has served Kardama Muni, and then we see what happened.
yes.
Yeah, rather what ideally nowadays, in this generation, women want to directly get it. Let me
Yeah.
also go to Himalayas. Huh? Why? Why to depend on my husband to get it? I can also get it. Let me also prove
Mm,
myself. So this proving spirit, na, is
mm.
actually proofing,
And
na.
also, Prabhuji, yeah, we see so many examples in Bhagavatam. Even if Suniti was not being such a good mother, Dhruv Maharaj could have never thought, okay, okay, I was yeah, derided by my father. Let me go, and she directed him, okay, go do tapasya. Like so,
Yeah,
there are so many nice mother, even Kunti Maharani, Draupadi. They all were great ladies. So yeah, Bhagavatam is also full of stories where yeah,
yeah,
empowered women we can see Prabhuji.
yeah. Right. Hmm. Yeah.
Their
Let's see.
wisdom have helped like
Hmm.
yeah, their family and grow. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. I think there was a culture. I don't know. I think in some villages it is still there. If the mother begets only a male child, then she's respected. No? I think in future it will be the others way. I
Yeah,
hope that day
Prabhuji.
comes now. Then we are proud of women. Huh?
Yeah. Actually, these fancy words like matriarchy, patriarchy, and so much of influence from the other culture have also somehow, molded our own independent thinking, which was initially influenced from our own heritage and culture. So
Mm.
yeah, everything got mixed up, and now it is totally a confused and messed up state. Mm. Just Prabhuji, only
So
mercy
that's why
helps.
I was telling to Satish Prabhu, yeah. So that's why for the time, place, and circumstance, the strictures will be changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Ratikali Mataji, you were saying, or you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah, she's, as
Oh.
Varshanila told it, like, it's, in this yuga, it is going to be the same. I mean, until and unless everybody knows more than what the opposite person knows. So, may that be any gender, the fights will be always there, because hearing capacity is less in Kali Yuga, because
Mm.
everybody wants to show that I know more better than you.
Mm.
And it is, I mean, even always it is mentioned in Bhagavatam also. I had mentioned this earlier also, like, the less intelligent woman is considered. We had spoken about this, and even Maharaj Guru Maharaj cleared it once. Until unless you serve Krishna, you will be less intelligent. The woman is considered, but if you're not using for the service of Krishna, then it is less intelligent. If you're using your capabilities in serving him, she will also be considered intelligent. But you don't have to prove it. You just need to do your service for him without considering you as less intelligent or very intelligent, empowered.
Mm-hmm. Very
Just
nice.
devote yourself to Krishna. Yeah,
Mm.
this is what he had once told. And it is because this happened. I mean, I remember this will always be there. We were not allowed to see even Maharaj, the Matajis. And then Maharaj gave us the opportunity the last day. So it was even more considerate. He's such, and even his disciple like Keshav Maharaj, who thought about all of them. And I was there. I heard some Matajis, why is this to us? What have we done? Why aren't we allowed? It is not that easy, but it is the Kali Yuga thing. And Prabhupada will never, he always took so good decisions. Earlier also, when one of the Matajis was, I don't know whether it came in Srila Prabhupāda-līlāmṛta or it was in one of his other book. It was mentioned that one of the Mataji disciple used to sit very close to him and write all whatever he's telling in the lecture. But then some of them didn't like it, that she sits very close. So the next time he just made it clear that she's like his daughter, and but he explained it to her.
Yeah, it
And
is Yamuna Mataji.
Yamuna Mataji, yeah. So he just speaks what Bhagavatam says. And if using your intelligence for serving Krishna, then it's, yeah, as Mataji also said, Varsha-Līlā Mataji, that yeah, you should always, if the right now mothers are understanding that they should be having this cultural values, our Vedas, and so much is there to make our kids stand with Krishna conscious faith, then it will help us a lot instead of being only practical mothers. This base of this root is very important.
Yeah.
That's important. Then it may be boys or girls. It's equal. Yeah.
Well said. Yeah. Nice, Mataji. Anyone else on this wonderful topic on a wonderful day? Huh? Anyone else? By the way, happy International Women Day, whatever it is, I don't know. But yeah. Okay. Then yeah. Gaurav Prabhu or Dwarkavasini?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. This Swamiji Madhu Dvisha Swami. So all Prabhupada said that the disciples, they can become also later guru. Like every disciple can have also 1,000 disciples, and so still there is this conflict that I was wondering that why that although he was also there when Prabhupada talked about this, that everyone can become guru and that they can have their own disciples, but still there is some conflict remained.
Are you talking about the Ritvik?
Ritvik,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes all things are like, as we are all talking about time, place, right? Circumstance also plays some roles. There is general instruction and what would have happened that time. Because our intelligence is covered. Yeah. Sometimes what happens is our intelligence is covered and our understanding is not 100% correct. And things can go on for a purpose. We don't know what is the purpose. Yeah, for one's own learning or one's own offensive actions. There can be anything, but as you said, yeah, right, things shouldn't have
Prabhuji, if you
happened.
know that there was only Madhu Dvisha Swami, or there was also some other Swamijis, they also supported Madhu Dvisha Swami, or there was
I don't know. There's a whole document, if you want you read. I mean, I read long back, and after certain stage now it was too complicated to understand all. And that too, the question comes right now, what is the genuinity of the document? And then you still have to trust someone, right? Yeah, someone has trusted one side, the other one has trusted the other side. Krishna will accordingly reward. That's it.
Yes, Uji, more I liked Srila Prabhupada. I did not, he wanted to solve all the conflicts, so he, sannyasi, grihastha, he did not want to
make it
make any distance or smoke, so that there is any issue, and all he said that the goal is to achieve Krishna's
yes
service, and
yes. In spite of that, still mind always goes in this direction. Okay, grihasthas have some concessions, which means then they are low. So that always comes. But even in grihastha ashram, if one takes seriously to Krishna consciousness, yeah, even grihasthas can go far advanced than some others in some other ashrams, because they are working as a team, working together. One can, when for example you have a boat, right? So you're rowing a boat, then you have at least two pair of hands, right? Not one pair. Yeah, and that was support. That is more important. yeah, maybe that support is not there and there is a higher chance of fall down in other ashrams.
Yes, Prabhuji,
Oh,
both are engaged fully in the service in the
yes,
temple.
correct. Okay. Okay. Anyone else want to share or? Yeah, so we can see how Prabhupada is very, very eager and desperate to become free from managerial things so that he can engage in writing books for us. That is a vision, yeah, so that he can prepare not only to solve the problems at that time, through the books he want to solve the problems of all time.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one question. Because there was a sentence which kind of told that previously acharyas did not travel. Was like
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So basically, well, who kind of changed this ideology of not traveling? Because I know Ramanujacharya, Shankaracharya, according to those.
I think what Prabhupada is referring is not traveling within India. He's telling about traveling
Yes,
beyond
yes.
India.
Yes, Prabhuji, yeah, that's what I asked. Prabhuji. Like basically, the previous. That's why I think Hinduism didn't go beyond Bharata
Mm.
Khanda, Prabhuji. Or else I think
Yeah,
Ramanujacharya would have made the entire
yeah,
globe.
already.
Actually, yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So, but what kind of change? Like, is it Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's direction or Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj's direction to
Yeah,
change?
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had this, and also his some of his disciples went, London, different countries.
Okay.
Yeah, but they couldn't make it because of other reasons. Yeah, there is a book about it,
Oh, okay.
but Prabhupada made it. Yeah, and it's not like Prabhupada was the first, yeah, who went. There were
Okay.
already others who went, but they couldn't succeed.
Okay. Okay.
Not in ISKCON, I'm saying overall.
Oh, okay, Prabhuji. Overall,
But
it's
of
okay.
course, when we talk about, Swami Vivekananda also was in the West, and then he gave about philosophy, about Hinduism, etc. But to bang on the point, right? It was
Not
Srila
in this.
Prabhupada.
In fact, this topics probably a lot of sensitive topics. We covered. It was wide variety, right from getting foreign funding for Mayapur building to today was very, very
Chapter. Yeah.
very, very heavy, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Wish you a nice evening. See you us tomorrow on the Rudra Gita, the song sung by Shiva. We are going to talk on Shivaratri. Tomorrow is the Mahashivaratri in Germany. I'm feeling very happy. Hope you all make it. We can glorify Lord Shiva. See, now, Satish Prabhu, you understand the purpose why the class didn't happen last Saturday.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, yes. We kind of, but we finished Rudra Gita the previous week, right, Prabhuji? Or
Yeah, we discussed the Falastuti.
yeah. Okay.
As part of Falastuti, the reason why I didn't speak last week is that I want to kind of put some good order and get best of it.
Oh, very nice, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay then. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Satsvarupa Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.